What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View Podcast. We are back today, and we are talking the NFL, and we are giving our predictions for the divisional round of the playoffs. It's been a wonderful wild card, but now we're getting to the real games. We're getting down to the final eight, four in each conference: the NFC, AFC, and we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. We have the Chiefs versus Texans. We have the Lions versus Commanders, and then we have the Rams versus Eagles. So let's get down to business. I want to go to just two teams. The first one I wasn't very shocked by. The second one, Brian was very right about, and that is the Rams. So let's get to this game, Rams versus Eagles. This has a lot of just implications in it. I've heard for many, many months by Dan Orlovsky. He's been pushing towards the idea that the Rams are a major threat in the NFC. I didn't see that coming in. I was wrong. You said that the Rams were going to beat the Vikings. I was wrong about that. I didn't see the Rams getting 9 sacks against the Vikings. I know that for sure. I didn't see the Rams absolutely dominating the Minnesota Vikings. That's for sure. I was at the bar when I saw that game too. Funny thing is, one of the waiters at the bar was a Vikings fan. He was all excited. He was like, "Yeah, man, I've been rooting for this team for so many years." And by the end of the first half, dead silent.
That'll do it. Hey, I'm a Cowboys fan. I know what it's like to get to the divisional round and the wild card round and just wet the bed. So I feel for him. I feel for him.
So first of all, since we're talking about the divisional round now, and it's coming up tomorrow, the Eagles versus Rams. I just want to know, like, what is your thoughts on this matchup, and how do you see it play out?
Okay, my thoughts on this game is I don't like the Eagles, but they have a good roster and they win games. I wasn't too really impressed with their performance last week. The Packers just didn't really show up the way they needed to show up, and it just looked like a mismatch on the field, on paper, and the Eagles they handled their business. The Rams on the other hand, I didn't expect them to blow out the Vikings, but I expected them to have a really good game, and they did. But this week, I'm hearing there is going to be snow possibly. It might be a snow game, and for the Rams, that is a bad thing. They are a dome team. And snow will really benefit the Eagles because of Saquon Barkley. They don't really want to throw the ball all that many times in the first place. So if we got to run the ball, run game against run game, I'm gonna go with the Eagles. But it's just I don't think the Rams have enough. You know what my saying is, better dudes. I'm gonna usually pick the team with the better dudes. Last week was the exception to that because I felt like the Rams had more prestige, or like they were used to winning more because they have those type of winning players, playoff experience and things of that nature. But the Eagles have went to the Super Bowl like 3 years ago, pretty much. And so I'm gonna go with the Eagles this game. They got a 6.5. They're a 6.5 favorite at home. Do I think they cover? I do, unfortunately. So yeah, looks like we're gonna see the stupid Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
So you talk about experience. I understand that, and that is true. They do have experience, but are you concerned in any way about what you've talked about for this entire season, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles and his sort of game plan against the Rams? Because what I saw last week against my Packers just wasn't it. It didn't work, and I'm wondering if that can play a huge part in this game. What is your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, Absolutely, that definitely will come into play in passing game because I believe the Eagles are the 29th pass passing offense. But I think they're top 10 in pass efficiency or something like that. But Kellen Moore has not been calling the plays, the routes that get people open. He's really just relying on a lot of curls, hitches, the same stuff he was doing back in Dallas. And so that is definitely a big concern. But if the weather is favorable to them and it is a snow game, then that honestly really won't matter as much because they're going to be running the ball anyway. I will
Yeah,
say the Rams did a good job with holding Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and those dudes to minimal damage. I think could they pull the same thing off against AJ Brown or Devonta Smith? Honestly, yes, but you have to get to the QB. They did get 9 sacks last week, so Sam Darnold was rattled. He was seeing ghosts out there. Will they be able to generate that same pressure on the Eagles O line? I do not think so. You may
mm,
get 2 sacks, if that. So
yeah,
yeah, I just don't see like if this was on like the weather conditions were favorable, I'd give the Rams more of a shot. But what they saying this is gonna be snow and all type of stuff, and I just can't give it to them.
mm, yeah. Uh, you make valid points. I'm just trying to look at some things from the Eagles side of things that I'm concerned with. Mainly, Jalen Hurts did not impress me last week. We said this on the podcast how he has become a game manager for the most part. I will say that the Packers defense played great. They did a wonderful job in coverage. We generated 9 quarterback pressures, which is okay. We only had 2 sacks that game, but the coverage for the most part, I was impressed by because I didn't think they could do it. I didn't think they could hold AJ Brown and Devontae Smith to the little amount of catches and yardage that they ended up having for that game. I thought that the defense was going to get exposed eventually, and it did a good job. I mean, yeah, they gave up 22 points, but given what they had to do for the most part of the game, they did what they were supposed to do. The offense for the Packers weren't doing much, and it still didn't matter. Like the Eagles offense just couldn't get to a groove. The Rams defense, I I understood that they had a good front four, but I didn't know it was going to be that dominant against the Vikings. And it made me realize just how important the loss of Christian Darrisaw was for the Vikings because Sam Darnold was just getting pressured all over the place. I will say though, with Sam Darnold, he was holding the ball way too long. I think majority of his sacks were either close to 4 seconds or over 4 seconds. So he
Yeah, I
had
think so.
plenty of time. If it is a snow game, which it probably will be, I guess I will go with the Eagles at home just for the simple fact that their conditions and the style of football that they play favors them. They'll just rely on Saquon Barkley a lot more. And the Rams, although they do have Kyron Williams, although they do have Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup, in these conditions on the road with that crowd, I just can't see the Rams winning this game. If it was clear skies, if it was just a regular Sunday night football with cold weather, I would probably go with the Rams. But with the conditions, with the fact that the Eagles defense is still great, I have to go with the home team in this scenario. I have to go with the team that is conditioned to play in the snow with that great offensive line. My God, I remember that Packers game. I think it was the first drive where there was a play and Jalen Hurts was literally it was almost like he was just standing in the pocket, just waiting.
Yeah, he had it was so much time back there. He could have made a sandwich and read a book.
Exactly. He had like seven almost I think over 7 seconds to throw on that play. It was ridiculous. I don't even want to speak on the Packers because I already said enough about them in this previous that let me believe that this was going to be the case. But regardless, yeah, man, I just can't see the Rams uh doing the same thing they did the previous week. I don't see them generating 9 sacks against the Eagles. I don't see
Yes.
them uh, really affecting Jalen Hurts to the level that they did against Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold, oh my god, he was
Only person I seen lose more millions of dollars in a short span of time was Franklin Saint. That man he was just burning money. I mean, good grief. He should have faked the injury.
like I understand there's this argument to be had. Well, nobody was open. They were doubling Justin Jefferson. But when you watch the game, you see the amount of time he had in the pocket. If there's nobody open, throw it away or scramble for the first down. This notion that the quarterback should be left off the hook because nobody was open. No, okay then. Don't try to make a situation worse. And that's what he did for the majority of the game. Remember that one play where they they were about the shot clock was about to get to zero. So he had to rush. And so shot clock, whatever they call
The
it.
game
The
clock.
clock, the game clock was about to get to zero, and he had to snap the ball really quickly. And when he snapped the ball, the pass rusher literally came off the edge with the quickness and strip sack.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
remember
it
that.
got returned for a touchdown, maybe.
Hmm.
So
I think
just
that was like I want to say that was like after they got a turnover too.
It was. I remember the
Mm.
Vikings did get a turnover. So man, it's just stuff like that where like Sam Darnold, he lost a lot of money. I don't see him returning for the Vikings for the simple fact that
He wouldn't if
I
I
don't I
was
don't
the
think they're going.
GM.
Yeah, I don't think they want to pay him close to 50 million. He'll probably go
They
for 40,
they
40, 45.
they'll probably franchise tag him and then start JJ anyway. Well, or
Mm,
they may try to start him early, but if he starts being shaky, they just won't throw JJ in there.
I think what they'll you're right. They might franchise tag him or they might trade him.
That is also a possibility. But shoot,
It
any
all
team that's
depends
gonna
on
bank on
JJ's health.
that,
It all depends on JJ
mhm,
McCarthy's health. If he's healthy by training camp, then they'll probably be like, all right, you know what? We can pull the plug on this. We could trade him, let him go, let him walk. But if JJ is still in rehab, trying to get back into form where he was in his rookie season, then they may just say, let's keep doing this Sam Darnold experiment for another year, see how he goes. That was
I
just
do.
awful. That
Yeah, that was awful, but I do want to give credit to Sean McVay and the way he schemes up this offense because you look around on the Rams offense, they don't really have speed. They have one guy that's a burner, which is Tutu Atwell, but he's not the fastest guy in the world. They somehow, some way, continue to be efficient on offense. With no Puka Nakua, he's phenomenal. Cooper Cup, he's getting up there, but he can still do some things. Robinson is out there. Kyron Williams, he's not super fast or anything. But that one play, they were in the red zone. Matt Stafford takes the snap, rolls to the left. Kyron Williams comes straight out the backfield. He's wide open. I'm like, I would kill to have that kind of play calling on my team. Like the way this Sean McVay's just the offensive genius. He's a wizard out there. And now what? I'm so mad I can't have a coach like that.
he out of all the coaches in the Shanahan tree, you can make a legitimate argument
He's
that
better than
he's number
Shanahan. I
one.
don't care.
You think he is?
Yeah,
Man, I mean, he has won a Super Bowl, so for crying out loud, I mean, yeah, it does kind of make sense that he would be the better coach compared to Shanahan. But I will also say that it is good to have receivers that can catch that don't drop passes.
yeah.
Like yeah, they he schemes them open, but they also can catch the football at an elite level. Like Puka Nakua, shoot. There was some throws that Matthew Stafford was throwing towards his way, and he was able to just find a way to grab it. Most difficult angles, the most difficult catching angles that he can get, and he was able to keep his feet in bound, able to reach down and grab the football. My team can't do that. I don't have guys like that on my team. Hey, so they
I have
just
one guy on my team that can do it. So
exactly. CD Lamb. They just have done a great job actually, of finding these guys in the draft, be it third round, be it fifth round,
I was just about to say
developing
that.
them.
Yeah.
Jared Verse, people looked at him
Slam
like,
dunk
oh, he's a
pick.
finished product. He's not gonna get much better. Like, shut up. Shut up, bro. I knew he was gonna
I
be
I
good.
I, I feel like the scouts thought it with him because I was shocked when he was available in the 20s. I'm like, wasn't he like edge 1 or 2 in this
He
class? What is
was.
going
He
on?
was. He was. Yep. Yep. And they looked at him like he doesn't have much of a ceiling. He's a floor guy. I'm just like, dude, line it up. Just line it up. Put him in a
Like he
system.
was whooping
He's gonna
people. Like what are you talking
thrive.
about? I thought Will Anderson was more floor guy, and he still went top 5.
Exactly, man. Just line it up. Put him in a system. Put him in the right system, and he'll thrive. And this is what he do. Kobe Turner, Byron Young, like
Byron
all these
Young, yeah,
dudes. These guys
Braden
are
Fisk.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. They got a good defensive
That's
line.
the important of drafting and scouting, man. You just find dudes like you watch Rams games. You're like, who the heck is that guy? And he's just making plays, and that's like, hey, that's what good drafting gets you. That's why
And,
it's so
yeah,
important.
man.
And they
And
they
then,
really had to hit on them picks because
oh yeah,
because yeah
the
because
salaries, it's a
hmm
lot. And then you lose Aaron Donald, but then you draft these
exactly
players. So you pretty much address one of the biggest needs on your defense, which was the
D
fact that
line,
you got to
yeah.
replace arguably the greatest defensive player in NFL history. And they did that by getting all of these guys in the later rounds, in the first round, and developing them into great players. And now they have one of the better defensive lines in the NFL, and that's how they were able to get 9 sacks. So yeah, we both agree that the Eagles will win, not necessarily because of the fact that they're just so much better than the Rams, but the conditions that they'll be under with the snow is going to play a large part in this game, and I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. All right, let's go to the next game. I want to go to the Commanders versus Lions game. I've been hearing a lot from Commanders fans. They've been talking, man,
Imagine
man.
working with them.
What
Goodness.
what if the Commanders win this game? You're gonna be eating a lot of crow. What if the Commanders are able to go to the Super Bowl? You're gonna look really bad. I'm like, a lot of what ifs. Can we just let the game happen before you talk? Like
It's
let's let
funny
them
because
win.
didn't the Packers literally go to? Oh wait, no, I don't think they did go to the championship game when you was rooting for them.
No,
But they kept losing.
no. They did. They did.
They
They
did.
did. Yeah,
Was the game against the 49ers?
the first season, yeah, the first season
Okay,
I rooted for the Commanders was the season Aaron
you mean
Rodgers
Packers?
just came back. I said the Commanders came back from a major injury. It may have been a shoulder injury or something like that. They had like two straight losing seasons, and they were able to get to the championship game versus the 49ers with Jimmy G. They ultimately
That was
lost,
that
but
snow game, right? Not
no,
snow
no,
game.
no,
It, it,
no.
it was it
This
was
was
like
when they
it
went
was it was super
to
low scoring, right?
This is no. The Packers got their ass whooped. This is when they went to the
Or that was
49ers.
the other
49ers
game.
had the
Okay,
one
okay, it
seed
was it.
that year.
Okay, I
Yeah, that was
remember.
the first season that I rooted for the Packers. And then after that, same old. But still, regardless, Commanders versus Lions. I'll say this about the Commanders. They can make this a game if Jaden Daniels continues to do what he always has done, which is utilize his legs, put a lot of pressure on the defense of the Lions, especially since the Lions are missing a lot of dudes. Aaron Glenn is a phenomenal defensive mind, but when you don't have the dudes, it doesn't matter what scheme you put on there. You need the dudes in order to work. So they have an opportunity to make this interesting. What is your thoughts on this game? How do you see this being played out?
Um, for consider what I do for work, I've heard so many different opinions and all type of scenarios. And let me tell you what it is straight up. The Lions, in my opinion, are a better football team than the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are definitely good. I will say they're good, but it's mostly because of Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury actually upgrading and making changes as a play caller. But I still see the Lions winning this game. I just feel like it's just people say, "Oh, the Commanders are playing with no pressure." I'm like, that may be true, but a hungry lion gonna eat. And you know what I'm saying? And the Lions are very hungry. They see a path to the Super Bowl, and they got to go through a Washington team that has a rookie QB. They gonna find a way to get it done, in my opinion. I don't see how the Commanders are going to stop the Lions from scoring almost every single drive. Like Jared Goff will have to start turning the ball over or something because we all seen what Baker was able to do with that defense. And you can argue the only reason they lost is because of a fumble in their own red zone and the botched handoff when they were about to score on the Commanders. So, with that being said, the spread is 8.5. I do think the Commanders will cover that 8.5. It may be either backdoor. I think this game will be close, and I don't think it's going to be a blowout like people think because the Lions' defense. They definitely can get hooped on with a competent team, and Jaden Daniels is so hard to game plan against and play against because he's so versatile. Like we all saw that scramble he did on was that fourth down or third down? But he like it looked like he got caught in the backfield by Kalijah Kancey, I want to say, or the other pass rusher they had, and he just like brushed him off and just ran for the first down. And I was like, wow, you cannot make this up. So Jaden Daniels is electric. He's really the only reason why I would give this team such a big shot in this game because he's just been phenomenal all year. But that Commanders defense, let me tell you something. You had Bobby Wagner trying to guard Amon Ra on the slant across the middle of the field and see what happened. He's going to take that 30, 40 yards. So the Commanders Dan Quinn gonna have to do something, and also they getting Demo back, which people don't know that's David Montgomery. How are they gonna stop the run? Because Bucky Irvin was getting whatever he wanted last week, and I just don't see how they're gonna stop Jahmyr Gibbs. They don't have enough speed on the field, in my opinion, to stop Jahmyr Gibbs from breaking off from crazy runs. The defense has been playing, I guess, better than their talent would suggest. But I think the what Dan Lennon said, the Cinderella story stops here. I think it's over for the Commanders. So good season
Yeah.
though. Good season though. Y'all only got
Overachieved
one
like
less playoff.
crazy.
They did overachieve. And also I also wanted to bring that up. Commanders fan, I'm not saying you should want to lose this game, but you have to be careful with setting too high expectations your first year of a rebuild or as Dan Quinn was a recalibration. Because if you don't come back to reach these heights next year or the year after that, you're gonna be like, man, what the heck was this regime doing? Y'all gonna think, oh, we some 1 year wonders and blah blah blah. I'm telling you, I've experienced it before. Rookie Dak and rookie Zeke made it to the division round of playoffs. Aaron Rodgers sent us home last year. We went 7-9. No, we went 9-7, missed the playoffs. So I'm just saying, just it's okay. I've heard some crazy stuff. People was calling into the shows and saying we could go to Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels cancer. I'm like, listen, y'all gotta stay focused. Y'all gotta stay focused. I'm telling you, do not drink the Kool-Aid too soon. Because I'm
Mm.
telling you, this sport will humble you. And as a Commanders fan, you should know. Because good grief.
Yeah, it will hump you. I'll say this, the only way I can see the Commanders winning this game is one, the defensive line for the Commanders has to be dominant. They have to really rattle Jared Goff and do a number on the running game as well. Make it a third and long game and not a third and short game. Because that's when the Lions will just decimate you. When they make it a third and short and not a third and 10, third and 13, they can make it a third and 10, third and 13 game. Then the speed for the Lions, they can't necessarily take advantage as much against the Commanders. You have to do whatever you can to really rattle Jared Goff in the pocket. And I just don't see them doing that because the Lions offensive line, just like with the Eagles, is one of the best offensive lines in football. And you have an amazing running back in Jameer Gibbs, who's one of the fastest running backs in the NFL and one of the most elusive running backs in the NFL. It's just very hard for me to see the Commanders being able to really affect this Lions offense. This Lions offense is the best offense I've seen in recent years. They are tremendous. It just seems like they have an answer for every assignment that they're tasked with. Ben Johnson is an amazing play caller, amazing play designer. He'll figure out a way to get this offense going, get this offense in a groove. Jameson Williams, talented receiver. Amon Ross St. Brown, talented receiver. Sam Laporta, Jared Goff has been so efficient this year, so productive. It's very hard to see a Lions team get rattled by a Commanders team like this. Maybe against the Eagles, but not against this team. They just don't have the dudes, like you said, and they scraped by against a Buccaneers team that barely made the playoffs if it wasn't for a lousy division. So give me the Lions this game. Jaden Daniels, he's gonna have to put up some points. He's gonna have to really put up some points if he wants to win this game, and I just don't see it happening. Eric Glenn is an amazing coach. Aaron Glenn's going to dial something up defensively that's going to really rattle the Commanders. And I don't think it's going to be Jaden Daniels' fault. I just think that Aaron Glenn and that defense is going to make it very hard for Jaden Daniels to get through his progressions. And that's going to be the difference this game. So, all right. All right, let's go to the Texans versus Chiefs. This one I don't think this is really hard to assess, analyze, predict. I feel like I have 100% certainty of what is going to transpire in this game. And that is the Chiefs are going to win this game. This is the one game out of all the divisional round where I'm 100% certain that a team is going to win. The Chiefs, number one seed, they've gotten better week by week. Patrick Mahomes has more rest. Everybody has more rest. The Texans played a great game defensively against the Chargers. I will not deny that. That was another shocking game that I did not see coming. But this is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Andy Reid. This is Travis Kelsey. This is a great defense. I don't see the Texans really doing much against that team. I remember, what was it, weeks ago when they faced the Texans. The Texans defense did
On
do a number
Christmas?
on them a little bit. They did do a
No,
number
that
on them,
wasn't.
but
That wasn't.
ultimately, you said what?
I was trying to figure. I was thinking, was that the Christmas game? But no, that wasn't Christmas. I think they played the Steelers on Christmas.
Yeah, that was that was
I think that was the week before. Actually,
the
that was
week
the week
before
before
the
Christmas.
week
Yeah,
before.
that was a Saturday before Christmas. That's what it was.
Yeah, so they did. The Texans defense played good for some of that game, but ultimately the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they took advantage of whatever weakness that they have. The Texans are missing. Um, they're missing their dude. What was his name? That
The
speed receiver.
receiver, Tank
Yeah,
Dell.
yeah, man. He's gone for the year, and Bobby Slowett as a play caller. He's just there's still concerns over that. CJ Stroud, although they did win the game, I'm still not all that pressed for CJ Stroud. I still believe that he has a lot of work to do in order for me to really feel confident that he can go up in Arrowhead and win this game. So give me the Chiefs this game. There's not really much I need to say else. The only way the Texans are going to win this game is if that defense dominates for 4 quarters and has Patrick Mahomes throw like a pick six or something. That's the only way I see them winning. So give me the Chiefs. What about you?
I'm going Chiefs. The Chiefs. I'm not picking against the Chiefs until a team showed me they could beat them. And the Texans, unfortunately, I don't think they're the team to do it. The offense is just way too inconsistent. And I'm hearing Joe Mixon is questionable on the injury report. I'm sure he'll play, but you going to get you bringing your banged up best running option with a on a weak running team up to Arrowhead to play Steve Spagnuolo defense, and they're gonna have Chris Jones back. They're gonna have Trey McDuffie. They're gonna have all the dudes ready to go. They've been resting for 2 weeks essentially. Um, no, I'm not picking against the Chiefs here. You crazy? The spread is 8.5. Could the Texans cover? Possibly in some universe. This universe, I don't know about that. But the Texans going, like I said, the Texans are going to have to play 4 quarters of good football. Actually, no, elite football. Forget good football. Good ain't enough to beat the Chiefs. You need to play elite ball for 4 quarters. But thing is, it's the Texans offense. Bobby Slowick, he did all right last week against the Chargers. I feel like CJ Stroud was bailing him out, but it's a different ball game with the Chiefs. And we seen what happened the last time these dudes lined up for each other. I don't think the Texans have changed enough as a team to try to reverse what was done to them in the first matchup. So I'm going with the Chiefs, man.
Yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory on this one. I don't see the Texans being the team to knock off the Chiefs. So let's go to the next game. We have, in my opinion, the biggest game of the weekend, and that is the Bills versus Ravens. This has a lot of implications in this, from a talking narrative perspective to just legacies, especially Lamar Jackson. So this, you could argue this is a coin flip game. I'm on the side of the Ravens on this one. They're on the
Mm,
road, but I believe the Ravens have the better dudes in this scenario, in my opinion. I
I
believe
agree.
I believe the Ravens offense is a tad better than the Bills, in my opinion. The addition of Derrick Henry, I believe, is the deciding factor. I don't think the Bills can stop Derrick Henry in this rushing attack. I believe Derrick Henry is the biggest X factor in this game, and they're not going to be able to stop him. Lamar Jackson, that last week against the Steelers, was phenomenal. Derrick Henry last week against the Steelers was phenomenal. It looked like a statement win that they pulled off that game. And I believe they'll do something similar this game against a Buffalo Bills team. The defense is not all that talented. They have a great scheme, but they just don't have the talent enough to really make it difficult for Lamar Jackson. It's going to be a close game. The Bills are still the number 2 seed. The Bills are still a good team. But I believe in this scenario, we're going to watch and we're going to see why Lamar Jackson, soon to be 3-time MVP, why Lamar Jackson is constantly compared to Patrick Mahomes, why Lamar Jackson continues to get all of this criticism about his playoff woes compared to the other guy in Josh Allen. We're going to see the difference between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and I believe Lamar Jackson is going to put on a show this game. I believe Lamar Jackson is going to continue to prove the haters wrong. I love what I saw last week. He utilized his legs a lot more. It seems like he learned. I hope I'm not wrong about this. It seems like he learned from the AFC Championship game last year when he did not run the
Mm.
ball. And this year, I believe he's going to just put his ego to the side and not try to prove people that, oh, I can throw from the pocket. Everybody knows you can throw from the pocket. Just win the game. That's all that matters. And I believe they will. What about you?
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, of course. I mean, listen, the Bills, they're a good team, but like you said, I'm looking up and down. Better dudes goes to the Ravens. Coaching, I like Joe Brady, but Todd Monken, he's really in that same tier, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens for coaching. And from what I've seen recently, the Ravens defense has really started to come around. I got some statistics for you. Since week 13, including the playoffs, by the way, the Ravens EPA defensive EPA is number one in the league, which is over the Eagles at minus 0.166. So the Ravens are super. tough defensively now. It took them a while to get there. They wasn't playing like they had last year when they had Mike McDonald, but they really started to come around, and now we starting to see teams not really be able to move the ball against them too much. Marlon Humphrey is still Marlon Humphrey. They getting pressure. Pass rush is showing up. Linebacker play is still good. Roquan Smith commanding that center of the field, and the Bills aren't even top 12 in that span. And usually, the statistics say teams that aren't at least top 12 in defensive EPA, they do not make the Super Bowl. And that's just
Mm.
the fact. The Chiefs are on here, of course they are, because devil magic. But yes, I got the Ravens here. I feel like Lamar is better than Josh Allen, in my opinion. Um, I don't see how the Bills defense has a plan to stop Lamar and Derrick Henry. I know they don't have Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers like the third do you got to worry about on this team, because and they still have Mark Andrews who can still turn it up at any time, and they still got young. Bateman has really came into his own this season. I'm not really concerned about the Ravens' offense being stagnant. I feel like you got way too many options with Lamar and Derrick Henry. It's just man, it's gonna be tough, man. But I still got the Ravens winning. Let me see what the spread and stuff is. It's crazy. In real time, I just seen the spread move from 1.5 to just one for Baltimore. So I'm
The
still
Zay
going over.
Flowers, probably the Zay Flower news.
Oh,
Maybe that's
oh,
why the line moved a little bit.
let me see, because I
But
just checked and say it was doubtful. It still says doubtful. I don't know what happened.
yeah, so here's my thing with the Bills and why I'm concerned for them. It's because of what we saw in the regular season against the Lions and the Rams, I believe, back-to-back games, giving up over 40. Josh Allen was amazing those games, but you have to look at the totality of the team. And the totality of the team tells me that Josh Allen has to be Superman. And if he's not Superman against great teams, he's going to falter every time. And I believe this is going to be a case where the defense is not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and they're going to be able to do whatever they want. I say this about the Ravens offense. It's not going to be because of the Bills defense that they lose. It's going to be because the Ravens offense does something dumb game plan wise. Lamar Jackson decides to stay in the pocket instead of running at certain points in the game. That's how I see the Bills winning, is more so the Ravens beating themselves than the Bills defense really playing great coverage, pressuring Lamar. That's the only way I could see the Ravens offense really plummeting that game, because I just can't find it in me that the Ravens would have much trouble scoring against this Bills defense, especially what we saw in the regular season against the Rams and against the Lions. It just
Remember,
wouldn't make
remember when
sense.
the Ravens played the first play of the game, Derrick Henry took it like 80 yards.
Yeah, and that was like back in the beginning of the season, the first quarter of the season. But they still have problems to this day.
Yeah,
They are a bend but don't break defense, but I think they're going to break this game. And it's going to show its ugly head when they lost all those defensive players that they had from the previous years. The Jordan Poyers, Matt Milano just came back, but he's getting up there in age. All these guys that they really relied on in previous years, now they're not there anymore. And I believe it's going to really show itself this game. And I have the Ravens winning this game. It's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully, Lamar can put on a show. Hopefully, Lamar can prove the haters wrong, and we could put this Lamar versus Josh Allen comparison to bed. So, all right, that will do it for our playoff predictions for the divisional round of the NFL. We are going to move on to another subject that has been spiraling for the past week, and that is Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has been interviewing with different teams, noticeably the Bears and the Raiders. I've been hearing rumors that Ben Johnson potentially could be the front runner for the Raiders.
I have heard that too.
I also heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true or not. It is a rumor, by the way, that Ben Johnson doesn't want to play in the same division as the Lions. Now, my thing with this is I don't know if I would want to go to the Raiders. I understand the lifestyle is great, but it is the Raiders at the end of the day. I understand Tom Brady has a lot. Uh, he's doing a lot for that
Cool. Yeah.
organization. His hand is in all of the different things, front offices and stuff like that. But dog, it's the Raiders at the end of the day, and the talent is just not there. What Max Crosby, he possibly will probably get out. They're probably gonna have to trade him. Devontae Adams is gone. They don't have a quarterback. The offensive line is man. The defense, man. They have Brock Bowers. That's about it, really. Jacoby Myers, he's a at best, I would say I would want him as my third receiver, not my number one receiver. I just don't see him going to the Raiders. Like it just doesn't seem like a great idea unless he has a lot of control. If they give him control over personnel decisions, give him control over who he wants drafted to the team, give him a massive contract like they did with what's his name?
John
John
Gruden.
Gruden, then maybe so. Maybe it's just a bidding war for him now. Maybe he's looking at it from a all right, how much control will I get for a team? If that's the case, then fine. But in terms of just football, we're just looking at the football on the field, the talent on the field, it's not even close to Chicago Bears. What is your thoughts on the news of Ben Johnson possibly going to the Raiders?
Uh, hold on, I'm pulling up Tank a phone right quick. Just I don't need to see the draft order. Okay, the Raiders got the sixth pick. I think they're out of Shador range. So, uh, yeah, I, I'm kind of confused. I know, like you said, Tom Brady and all of that stuff is got his hands in the pie and do pretty much. It seems like he's the daggone GM owner or whatever. Because the way he's trying to pull strings and make stuff happen, I'm like, dang, who's the owner? But yeah, I'm not too sure what the Raiders thing is. I don't know if he thinks they could like turn it around in a relatively short time, or he's just trying to take on this build project. We're just going to build from the ground up. Somehow get a QB. Maybe we stink for a year and be in a position to draft the Arch Manning or something next year. I'm not too sure, but I'm not, yeah, I really don't see the fascination with the Raiders, job. I know you got Brock Bowers, but other than that, you ain't really got too much. And so I'm really confused here. Where did this even come from? All of a sudden that he's like almost honestly, I would take the Jacksonville job before the freaking Raiders, in my opinion. At least the Jags have Trevor Lawrence. You could do something with that.
I
In
think
my
the
opinion, his
ownership.
skill level is similar to Jared Goff. It's not like it's unfamiliar territory. They got Tank Bigsby. They got receiver. They got Brian Thomas Jr., who's a stud. They got Trayvon Walker on deep. Like you have more stuff to work with in Jacksonville. I don't see why this Raiders job would be much more coveted than a job like Jacksonville, in my opinion. I know you'd be playing against. I mean, it's not even that tough a division. And like, why would you want to play? So wait. He doesn't want to play. The reports saying he don't want to play against Dan Campbell and but you'd rather play against Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and freaking
Jim
uh,
Harbaugh.
uh Jim Harbaugh. What? Uh-uh. I think this is a. I think this might be a smoke screen. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
think
feel
it's
like there's
just
just the agent is giving out information to try to gain leverage because
mhm.
reports. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Because I'm
my
sure
my
he's still
thing.
going to take other interviews.
I don't think any job that I've seen his name revolve around is a great job. Like Jacksonville, the problem is ownership. There was
That is
a
true. Trent
clip
Baalke, yeah, he's
of
horrible.
Shad Khan talking about potentially getting rid of the GM if the coach that he's trying to hire, gives a good reasoning why the GM shouldn't be there. And Trent Baalke was literally in the meeting listening to this. So there's just dysfunction there. The Chicago Bears, there's the Chicago Bears. Nothing seems to go right with the Chicago Bears. Ryan Poles each day. I'm conflicted on is he a decent GM or is he a bad GM? You look at the Raiders; they have been dysfunctional for over 20 years. So those are the three jobs that I consistently hear Ben Johnson's name. I believe the safest job would probably be the Jacksonville Jaguars, just because their division is so bad. But the job with the most potential would be the Bears because of Caleb Williams and those weapons. But you have to go up against the Packers twice, the Vikings twice, the Lions twice. Do you really want to have to deal with that headache every single season with those coaches, with those coaching staffs, with those quarterbacks? I probably agree with you on the Jacksonville point because there's no real obstacle in their way besides the Texans, and the Texans are very muddy. Each year it could be different. They made the divisional round, but they can be had. So I probably agree with you on the Jacksonville thing, although the owner is a bit weird. I think for the most part, the owner has done a good job of giving the coach some sort of power. I look at Doug Peterson, and a lot of what's going on is his fault. He's just
Yeah,
not a good coach. And then we saw with Urban
hiring the
Meyer,
wrong
that
dudes
was
too.
definitely his fault.
Yeah, that was horrible. Trent Baalke should have been gone. I don't know why you fire everybody else but the GM. I don't understand.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I don't understand that one. That's really the difficult part of things.
Oh, speaking of GMs, the Raiders don't have a GM right now.
Right. Right.
So they hired him for 1 year. They got him up out of there. And Ben Johnson's supposed to be like, oh, yep, I want to go to this team. Why? Y'all don't have a GM. Your roster's weak. You don't have a GM. You don't have a head coach. Well, obviously, you don't have a head coach because Ben Johnson changed the job. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't see it with the Raiders. You messed up your draft position. You're not even in franchise quarterback range unless I'm pretty sure Tennessee's taking the quarterback, and I'm pretty sure the Giants possibly could take a quarterback. Maybe even the Browns, but then they probably will wait out Watson contract, stink it up for one more year, and draft next year. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of out of QB range, in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't know what's the play here.
What's the long term play right here? I just think with the Raiders, it comes down to they're probably going to give him everything. That's how I think it's going to be. That's why their name is a part of the whole thing with his decision. All right, let's go to the other news, and that is the Cowboys, and they just can't stay out of the news. We've been staying out of the Cowboys news for a bit, but this just keeps getting more and more interesting in what's going on in Dallas, Texas. So Mike McCarthy, I think it was a week or two ago, he was scheduled to meet with the Bears. The Cowboys denied him being able to do an interview with the Bears for the head coaching job. And then they didn't extend his contract to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So now he's a free agent. He is now allowed to search for new jobs. Will he get a new job? I don't know. Well, remains to be seen.
He will.
But the Cowboys in this situation, I need to know what is your thoughts on this because this is just ridiculous. What Jerry Jones is doing, it just seems like a circus at this point.
Uh, First on the Mike McCarthy fine. Well, actually, they ain't fired. They parted ways. Don't be fooled, people. Don't let the Jerry media, the water carriers try to persuade you. Michael McCarthy is the one who walked away from Jerry, not the other way around. Jerry was offering some bull. Mike was like, nah, I got motion now. I had 3 12 win seasons in a row. Some team is gonna hire me. So I'm out of here. And that's why the Cowboys, it's kind of like they're frantically trying to find somebody for people to interview, because if they were ahead of the game like they should have been, they would have been better prepared to tackle this stuff. But this is the thing with Jerry Jones and Steven. They don't know what they're doing. They're not football guys. They do not know what they're doing when it comes to football operations. And it's blatantly clear. I mean, seriously. So you mean to tell me, what makes you think, in what world does Kellen Moore look like head coach material? I really don't understand. I just don't get it. Especially after you got rid of him 2 years ago. The Chargers ain't bring him back. Jim Harbaugh didn't want him. He'd rather go with Greg Roman. And then the Eagles get him. The run game is phenomenal. But how much is that just because they have a phenomenal O-line in Saquon freaking Barkley? And the pass offense is still bad. So what in the world are we doing here? Kellen Moore he's not a leader of men. He couldn't lead me to Walmart. He gonna lead a whole locker room? Are you kidding me? It's just ridiculous, man. In my opinion, I'm glad Mike McCarthy left, because I feel like the ceiling, we already knew what the Cowboys were going to be with Mike McCarthy running the show. His play calling, his X's and O's just wasn't up to par. We've seen it this year. But I'm looking around, the names being thrown. They talk about Dion. I'm like, I mean, Dion would be better than Kellen, I suppose. But like the risk you run with these coaches like a Deion Sanders, who are most like culture setting guys, is that, say if they do hire good staff, it's gonna be a revolving door of coordinators. And do we believe that Dion can keep bringing them in? And I don't know. That's yet to be seen. And it just seems like that would be the Dion thing. I would prefer not to have him, because that's even more attention to the team that Jerry probably would like. But would the fans like it? No, because we'd be on prime time almost every week if Dion was the head coach. You kidding me? You wouldn't be able to escape the Cowboys. So I'm not even trying to see that.
Jason
And the
Witten.
thing is, listen, let me tell you something. I may joke a lot about disowning this team. If we hire Jason Witten to be the head coach, I am disowning the team until Jerry is 6 feet under. Because that is just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my
Jason
God.
Witten, are you kidding me? He's no Dan Campbell. He coached 1 year, maybe 2 years of high school ball. He is not ready to coach in the NFL. Now, what the reports are saying, though, they want Jason Witten a part of the staff so they can groom him to be a head coach. I think that's also ridiculous.
You know what this sounds like to me? You know what this is. You know what this sounds like to me? It's like Jerry is trying to groom a lot of these. So like you mentioned Kellen Moore, right? Jason Witten, Deion Sanders, former Cowboys coaches. Did Kellen Moore, wasn't he the quarterback for the Cowboys at one point? So you have a former Cowboy Deion Sanders, a former Cowboy Jason Witten, a former Cowboy Kellen Moore. Doesn't it seem like Jerry is trying to groom these guys in order to be the next head coach for the Dallas Cowboys that is a puppet for Jerry Jones? It just seems like that's what he's doing, because you look at Jason Garrett, you look at some of the other coaches as well. Like, what is Mike McCarthy was like, I had enough. I can't be a puppet for you anymore. It just seems kind of weird what Jerry Jones has been doing for the past 10 to 20 years. Continue, please.
That is absolutely what's happening. The only person that would give pushback to Jerry, because it's Deion. Deion would be the only one to be like, we ain't doing that. Like Deion wouldn't coach this team if he couldn't give up if Jerry was just going to butt in and every decision. Deion don't roll like that. But Kellen and Jason Witten, they would absolutely do whatever Jerry says. Is that Jerry wants to play some washed up bum over a dude that's better, and they gonna do it. But allegedly, it's reported that they are going to interview Ben Johnson and and Eric Glenn when they're made available. But to me, I just think that's something they could cover so they could cover all their bases. I think they already decided who they want to hire as the head coach. It's probably going to be a Kellen Moore, and that will crush the fan spirit. I don't know what they're thinking. And I truly believe Jerry thinks he doesn't have much time on this earth to be trying to do stuff differently than what they've always done. I genuinely think he's trying to fluke or luck his way into a Super Bowl because the way they're operating, the way they're doing stuff, there's absolutely no way that him saying he'd do anything to win a Super Bowl is true because they haven't shown any of that in these past few years.
Mm. It's a sad uh day. It's a sad time of affairs for the Dallas Cowboys. It just seems like y'all are stuck in purgatory until Jerry Jones either leaves this earth or decides to step down from being the owner, CEO, and leader of football operations.
Even Jones gonna be worse.
I don't know what to say, man. I just don't. It reminds me of Secession. It reminds me of just the simple fact that you have a guy, the founder, the owner, the CEO, who is an old man trying to run stuff like he thought he could back in the day. Now it doesn't work. And then you have the sons who I wouldn't say are worse, but are pretty bad as well, that are going to succeed him, and you're going to just be stuck in this cycle of being let down, of hiring, firing, not renewing contracts. It's just a circus. That's just what it is. It's just a circus.
And I don't want no more tickets to the circus show. I've seen it too many years.
Well, that's just how it is. All right, let's get to the final topic. College football championship game coming on, I believe, Monday. Martin Luther King Jr. Day as well. Who do you got? Ohio State, Notre Dame. What's your pick?
Um, I honestly didn't expect Notre Dame to even win the last game they played against. They played Penn State, right? Yeah, they
Yep,
played Penn
they
State.
did.
I didn't expect them to win, but I'm gonna go Ohio State. I just simply think that they have too much talent for Notre Dame to overcome. And I don't think the QB for the Notre Dame is really all that good in my opinion. He's bleh, and I just think Will Howard has much more to give for the team on Ohio State. And they just got so many dudes. They can beat you with so many ways. You got Jeremiah Smith. You got Igbuka. You got Travion Henderson. You got Judkins. I just think it's too much talent. I just think they just out talented them and they just win. I know Ryan Day isn't the greatest coach, but he had a pretty good run in my opinion. And I feel like Ohio State has beaten better teams than Notre Dame has. So I'm going to Ohio State. I don't
They
think it's
are
going to
the
be that close
most
of a game.
they are the most expensive roster in college football. They have so much talent offensively and defensively, from the linebacker position to the defensive line with the secondary as well. Then you have offense with the receivers, with the running backs. The quarterback isn't too shabby as well. They just have too much at their disposal that they will make it a problem for Notre Dame. Notre Dame, on the other hand, their coach is great. Marcus Freeman is a great coach. Who would have thought a guy like him eventually being able to get a team in Notre Dame to the championship game? If you remember, Brian Kelly left the team because he thought he couldn't get this team to that level. And now LSU, they bought him out. And Marcus Freeman, he was left the goods, and he was able to take that team. And now, years later, they're in the promised land. I just think Notre Dame has reached their ceiling. They've done a great job at maximizing their talent, maximizing everything. But this is Ohio State. Ohio State, they just seem like a team of destiny. They seem like a team that just everything is clicking, all cylinders, offensively, defensively. It just does not matter. Even against Texas, when it looked like Texas finally found their groove, finally found their identity. They're finally exposing Ohio State. Ohio State does what they normally do. They turn the football over. They get a return for a touchdown. They make it difficult for Quinn Ewers. They just find a way to win. Their best dudes make plays. That's just simple. When you have your best dudes making plays, it's going to be very hard for the other team to win. And that's just what it is
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. Caleb Downs, Jack Sawyer, all them brothers, man, all them dudes, they just make plays for Ohio State. The speed on Ohio State is just so menacing. And I just don't see Notre Dame doing it. They're too one-dimensional on offense. Like Riley Leonard, he's not a good thrower of the football. He is a good runner. They do a lot of design runs, but against this Ohio State team, I just don't think he'll have the running lanes to be able to make much damage, and they'll lose this game. I won't be surprised if this is a blowout.
Mm,
I'm gonna be completely honest because I just think Ohio State is that good and that talented, and they're gonna be ready to play.
yeah,
So yeah,
I'm on the same vibe.
those are our picks for the national championship game.
Just let me be me.